Now, of course, we are already in December 2020. It's only right that we start to look forward to 2021 and start making plans. This brings us to our next topic, that is digital tools for SMEs. What's next in 2021? Leading the discussion, we have our moderator, Joshua Chong, analyst from Kapronasia. And of course, his panelists, they include Dr. Channy, CEO, ACLEDA Bank; Upasana Taku, co-founder and COO, Mobikwik; Kit Kuan Pan, Vice President, Oracle, NetSuite, APAC, Japan, Oracle; Boon, Chief Commercial Officer, Thunes. Let's welcome all of them.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone in Singapore and around the world. So it's nice to have you joining here today. As the announcer mentioned, unfortunately, I think Upasana from Mobikwik won't be able to join us today. She has some connectivity issues, but we'll proceed as planned. So to give a brief introduction, SMEs have been the backbone of the economy in Southeast Asia, with more than 95% of them categorized as SMEs. And as we see this COVID-19 pandemic continuing here, a lot of these SMEs have had their business weakened, among other things, by the mobility restrictions. We've seen many of them turn to digital tools, for instance, going to online channels to try and reach their usual customers. And we have also noticed certain digital tools related to payments, lending, managing operations, and more rising in the marketplace. So our goal today over here is to try and explore the future of SME digitization, as well as better understand some of the tools that are out there, so SMEs can get greater awareness of what's available for them and what they can look forward to. So maybe I'll just start with a brief round of introductions for the panelists. Maybe we can go off with Boon.
Hi. My name is Boon, or people call me AB. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer for Thunes. I'm responsible for the business development and sales for the company. I've been with the company since the company founded in 2005. So it's been a very exciting journey for me to see how the company grows and how we build our cross-border payment networks. I mean, just to give a quick background about Thunes. Basically, Thunes operate a cross-border payment network where we connect to the banks and the mobile money operators to enable a very seamless, efficient payment among the emerging economies. Thanks.
Thank you, Boon. And Channy, would you like to give a brief introduction for yourself?
So thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Channy, the Group Manager of ACLEDA. In fact, I'm also take responsibility of the subsidiary in Laos, Bank Laos, and Myanmar Co Ltd. Also the subsidiary in Cambodia, the Institute of Business, as well as the ACLEDA Security. One of the founder of ACLEDA, starting from 1993 as an NGO for small and micro enterprise development. And then in year 2, the NGO transformed to a specialized bank and became the full-fledged commercial bank in 2003. In 2000, ACLEDA Bank became the largest bank in Cambodia. And in this year, May 25, ACLEDA Bank got listed in the Cambodian stock market. Start to introduce a digital, we call mobile application, in July 2010, and then the mobile, it developed application in 2017 and start to launch in Cambodia at the same year, 2017. Yeah, that's a quick background about myself. So thank you.
Thank you, Chan. And KK, would you mind going next to give a brief introduction?
Sure. Thank you for this opportunity. So good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. I realize this is probably more global than I thought it was. So good day to everybody. I'm called Okay, thank you. Yep. So I run Oracle Asia Pacific, which focusing on a very particular growth sector, what we call emerging business, which is really about the enterprise that is growing big. I call them. I tend not to call them SME, like Oracle probably used to, but I see them as emerging, the next big thing. So we focusing to provide digitization and enterprise solution for them, which is something that I think is going to be very, very huge in the sense that they are now going into a lot of cloud adoptions of the internal processes of the back office, of the front office, and connecting to the whole new world of technologies. So that is my business in Oracle, and I'm very glad to be participating in this forum.
All right. Thank you, KK. Just to stay on with you, we know that Oracle is one of the leading players here in Asia Pacific, one of the leaders, especially when it comes to cloud computing. Could you share a bit more on what you think are the key drivers of digitization for these small, medium businesses, and perhaps how has COVID-19 impacted digitization for them?
Okay, very good question, Ed. Well, I think this is now let's start with the second question first, right? COVID-19, I think, basically pushed digitalization ahead of time with adoptions in all levels. I think years ahead, a few years ahead, which that's the plus point, probably the only plus point in this the COVID pandemic that is causing a lot of damage and pain to all of us. How I see drivers, I think what has changed is that I think more businesses, right, not only in Asia, but I think globally as well, is now about new customer service. It's a change in the new customer experience. A lot of enterprise, a lot of companies, a lot of providers are now looking at how they rebuild maybe brand awareness and brand loyalty, right? Because you lost a lot of points, you lost a lot of customer-facing opportunity, and digitalization now is probably the best way for them to rebuild a lot of that. And also, right, I think most enterprise will need to raise the bar of customer satisfaction, customer service, customer attach, because malls, right, if you talk about retail, right, one of the days is 10 to 9 or 10 to 10. Expectation now they are all 24/7, right? Delivery, 5 days, if you take experience of buying from China e-commerce, it's not good, right? People expect instantaneous delivery. If I'm ordering in the morning, I expect that to be delivered in the evening. So that new customer service is to drive a lot of digitization for emerging and SMEs. Second, obviously, is technology, which I'm responsible for, right? How do you make use of it? How do you connect to the ecosystem? How do you analyze data now with all the availability of data, right? How do you use blockchain to secure some of the information? And last but not least, right? I think one of the key drivers is modernize talent, right? One of the days, right, where people are now bound, right? A lot of mobility, a lot of talent, a lot of new scientists, what we call data scientists instead of math scientists. So all these drivers, right, will have to change. All these will drive SME digitization perspective of how they do business. What do you, Joshua?
Okay. All right. Thank you. And perhaps we can move over to Channy. What's your view on the situation in Cambodia?
Yeah, you see, I share with Mr. Pan, but I look into a specific what is the important key driver for SME digitization in a specific company. So the SME one of the main force for that is like the relevant vision into that. So there's one. And number second is the human resource in the information technology, software development, like programmer or data analyst, and their skill in a related field, including banking and finance. And then the third point related to the investment, they need to have invest in that, include the project management, and then support by the regulation. So if without the regulation, it's hard for the SME to. I'm talking about the conducive rule and regulation. The COVID-19 is have positive impact on SME. So the SME shifting from the traditional shop or location to from running business from A to Z to like outsourcing, like in terms of human resource. Like it used to be like they need, if like a small shop, they have the owner and they have the salesperson, they have the book or the accountant. But now just one person can do many things. It's managed by the supporting system, and also the digital transaction. It make those transactions increase because of the impact of the COVID-19. So COVID-19 does give a positive impact on the shifting of the SME from traditional to relies on digital ones. So this is the case of Cambodia. Yeah.
All right. Staying on that idea of digital payments, so maybe we can move on to Boon, and with Thunes, you have been involved with building this infrastructure, the pipelines for a lot of these payment companies. So could you talk a bit more about, let's say, what an SME should consider when deciding to digitize payments, and how should they consider between the different options?
Right. Thanks. Obviously, I think when we talk about the cross-border payment, I think we're looking at SME to participate in the global economy, right? They want to offer, they want to be able to sell globally, right? And when we look into the SME, right, yeah, how do they sell globally? What would be the right approach, and what option do they have? So I would like to categorize them into two different segments, right? You have the traditional cross-border business trade where the seller or the SME will be able to sell directly to the buyer, either through offline or through the online channel. And the seller, in this case, the seller will have to invoice the buyer directly to process the payment, and the seller will only shift the product after they receive the payment. Then the question is more like how do they get paid? What is the most efficient way for them to get paid? And there is one of the things that they need to consider. And then the other piece is more on the e-commerce piece. So obviously the seller able to sell online, and in most cases they sell through a marketplace. So when they sell through a marketplace, we need to understand how do they onboard into the marketplace, and especially in the emerging countries, like where I want to sell in the marketplace, they have a different approach in onboarding. They need to KYC the seller and so on. So these are all different options for them to sell. We see that more and more we are moving into and want to be able to sell online, and what Thunes to offer is a more efficient and low cost way for them to get paid, or for them to pay supplier cross-border, and in particular in the emerging countries.
And just a quick follow-up question to that. We were all taken by surprise with the pandemic situation, and from Thunes' point of view, was there anything that you wish you were better prepared for to deal with this new normal that we're working with?
Right. I would like to share the experience I have for the 9 months, how we see the transaction flow. And instead of whether we are, Thunes, when we started our business, we focus a lot on the digitization of the payments. when they say digitization of payment, we believe in that the payment eventually will go into the bank account or go into the wallet instead of sending cash. So that is where we started when we built the network in 5 years ago. We envisioned that most of the transaction eventually will go to bank account and wallets. So we have been building this infrastructure for the past 5 years, connecting to the banks, connecting to the mobile wallets in the emerging country. Now today we connected to over 100 plus countries. Now during this pandemic, what we observe is the behavior change, right? People are not, during the lockdown, whether it's SME or whether it's individual, they can't go out to cash, to do cash when there is payment, everything has to be digitized. They need to receive payment in the digital form. So indirectly, because of this pandemic that drive the digitization of the payment. Instead of going to the traditional cash to cash way of paying, they start paying into the bank account and into the wallet. So we see a very strong month-on-month growth for our digital payment into bank account wallet, whether it's individual or whether it's for SME. We help global payment service provider to process payment for their merchants or for the marketplace seller. Now, we see that the increase in number of transactions we are processing to the merchants or to the sellers, and in particular, emerging country, right? So that's tell a lot, right? That this pandemic indirectly driving people into digital, using digital way of buying and selling, and I think that is what we've seen. That is what we observe, and things still holding out. Meaning today we still see the transaction of number transaction is growing into individual account or into the SME account. So that is reflect the digitization of the services emerging economy.
Okay, thank you. And perhaps Channy, you could chime in here. Do you agree with, from the SMEs that you have spoken with, you also get the same feeling that these are some of the challenges and pain points that they experience, similar to what Boon mentioned?
Yeah, that's correct, because they used to, I think SME relies on, used to be on the bank, more on the bank, more on using the bank counter to help, to support them in terms of do their transaction. But digitization, it's help them a lot, save time. They don't need to come to the counter. They can do business transaction at their own convenience and their own speed. No, they can do transaction from anywhere. Yeah, this is one a specific thing. They used to rely on the bank to send their account statement, but now they don't need the bank statement to be sent from the bank, because they can check from their mobile application, and then if there is any discrepancy, they can fix it immediately on spot. They don't need to wait until at the end of the month to fix it. Yeah, and this is second point. And third point, they don't need more spaces, and they don't need proper location to have their SMB location anymore. They can operate it from even the 10th floor or the ground floor. But again, the customer can place the order to them directly through their mobile, and then make payment in the app, and then confirm when they see those, and then they can send the material to at the place where their customer order. So it's outsourced, it's a stand by it's by itself, but it's a standalone. But they need to work. But first, the supplier, the order, they make the order to them directly, and then make the payment, and then the supplier, the seller, can order the truck, load of material, supply directly to the place. So I think it's save a lot of time saving, efficiently, secure, and then based on the 24 hours basis. And then example of my bank, I mean, originally we planned to reach all 10 Asian countries in terms of physical branch and office. But now after we expand to 2 countries, include Cambodia, it's 3 countries, and then the digital age come into the picture, and we can, like, by cross-border, we can support our customer who do transaction in Thailand and also in other countries in ASEAN. And we can reach customer in South Korea and also in Japan. So by digital means. Yeah, so it helped a lot. Yeah.
All right. So moving on now from payments to SME operations. So here I would like to bring KK in, and when SMEs are deciding whether they want to, for instance, move on to an ERP system or some other sort of management system, what do you think they'll need to consider, and what should they have on the top of their mind?
Okay. Now, let me try to use a acronym, ASAP, right? Or you understand what ASAP stands for, right? As soon as possible. Yep. That's exactly my recommendation is going to be, right? But ASAP in this context of the question will mean A is for agility, right? Agility because, right? You need to consider a solution that will grow with you, that will grow into your future needs, that will adapt to your future needs. It's not about a solution that will fit your current needs, but a solution that will have that flexibility to allow you next, to allow you, right, to have all the technologies, as evolve, to utilize. So I think the first A is agility, right? I think we need to consider the agility of the solution because we all understand that digitalization cannot be tactical, right? When people think that digitization is a cost, it's technology investment. It is not. It is still business investment. In fact, you business, your connectivity, your modeling completely. It is a new enablement platform for you. So I think that's very important to make sure that you have agility in mind when you select the vendor. Speed, right? Really about speed of implementation, speed of getting the tool implemented in your organization. Gone are the days, right? That you will have time to implement anything for a year. It doesn't work anymore. The whole business climate, especially now, if you look at COVID, right? We need to be very agile. We need to adapt. We need to change course. We need to have new customer, new supplier, new operations hour, new connectivity on the fly. So let's get the solution out there and then expand, right? So I think that's very important. Get somebody, get a vendor, get a selection, get a tool that will help you to land quickly so that you can use and expand. The next A is adaptability, right? And likewise, right? Something that will allow you to adapt quickly to changes in your supplier, in your customer, in your ecosystem, in your legal requirements that will impose or change very quickly. Last but not least, which is I think the most important, ASAP is a platform. Like I say, I would really encourage any SME to look at the digitization or technology as a transformation holistically. It's not only a point solution, it's also about your front, your mid, or your back office integration with your partner, with your supplier. A platform will be the most important thing in your mind in the sense that you will not create digital isolated data silo or data islands because it's really about getting all those information together for you to be able to analyze, for you to be able to make full use of it for your growth, for your customer satisfaction, for all the future integration of whether it's in IoT or blockchain, that you will be dependent growing your business. So I say ASAP, right? Choose solution that give you ASAP, agility, speed, adaptability, and a platform. Choose vendor that provide you ability to implement, adopt, expand. That will be my.
Thank you, KK. Yeah. At the same time, besides the larger ERP style systems, we've also observed some of these more niche standalone platforms. In the case of India, for instance, we see players like KataBook, OK Credit, or Gimbooks that provide SMEs with credit or invoicing or accounting system, and it's sort of just a singular service. I was wondering, KK, if you have any thoughts on this. What benefits do these services provide? What do you think is the future for them?
Well, first thing first, right? I think they're all good solutions, right? But like I say in my previous statement, right, a niche solution is what I call a tactical digitalization. Yes, you can execute very quickly. You can, but it's probably sometimes for addressing a specific need, um, rather than supporting your true business growth in the new future, right? I think as the company grows, like I say emerging business, right? Every company will grow beyond in terms of geography, in terms of currency, in terms of language, or maybe even different accounting standards, right? So a point solution serves a need, but I would still think that we need to consider holistically, where this point solution will work in your entire holistic digital transformation or go to the cloud plan or framework, right? So it's like what I'm doing now, right? NetSuite, for example, Oracle NetSuite, right? We advocate is a one system approach to solution to data. It's got to be integrated, right? Whether you are 5-man company going to a 50-man company, going into multiple location, multiple currency, multiple language, right? The system must be the only source of the truth. And that is the only way when if you get all the integration in all the data that will allow you to have that whole data visibility to make the right business decision based on complete data analytics of informed information. So yes, they are good. Don't get me wrong, right? So I'm not saying they're not relevant. They are very, very good solutions. But do consider that your bigger frame work of digitalization, how would they play in the holistic framework rather than by point, and then you have to figure out all the integration later on.
All right, thank you, KK. So moving on from these operations management to the concept to lending for SMEs. Here I want to bring you in, Channy, on because I understand that ACLEDA has been greatly involved with providing small business loans to a lot of SMEs, and I was just wondering, when we look at the SME, would you also consider, for instance, if they are using a digital tool like an invoicing service, does it make them more attractive to you as a lender? Does it signal that they are somehow more on top of things and better, maybe a less risky business to lend to? What are your thoughts on this?
Mm-hmm. You see, before I believe that the bank have three important infrastructure. One is the electronic one to reach out to the customer, and secondly, we have traditional infrastructure. It's the largest branch and offices across the country, 263 branch and offices. We are very close to the SME, to the customer in the field. We understand them like very well. Because we are close to them and at the sites, at the community area, at the business sites. And the third infrastructure is the digital one. That's the one that I believe that we cannot see that, we are the largest, we remain as the largest, we remain rich establish access and reach SME more conveniently. But really, it doesn't matter how the size, the company or the financial institution small, but with the digital device, with the app, create convenient access to small and medium enterprise, because they don't need to come to the traditional offices anymore, because the time is very important for them. Plus, because of the economic of the growth of the country, the well-being of the country, traffic jam, so access can be done most convenient and secure by means of application like a mobile app. So SME customer now, they can submit their loan application through the mobile application, so that they don't need to come to the office, and save both time. One is for the bank and financial institution. We don't need to fill in the form again, because the customer sales services fill in that form. So make them have quick access to bank and finance in the most convenient way. And digital channel is not just provide convenient services for in terms of access to loan, but also in terms of other bank financial service and product. Other one is fixed like term deposit, so they can have a fixed term deposit, open account with that. So with that term deposit is a proof for them to have access to a quick loan from the bank and financial institution also. So you must have the receipt, like the invoice, like the invoice. It's also there are the proof, so that the bank can confer, provide additional loan to those customer also. Yeah. So again, digital is does have a strong impact on those behavior, shifting from relies on traditional way to the digital, relies on the digitalization in terms of dealing with those SME customer for in terms of having access to loan.
Okay, and because we have been hearing also about some of these digital lenders, NBFC lenders, using scoring algorithms. I was wondering what are your thoughts on that, Channy?
Yeah, I explained already that the customer used to visit the branch. The process takes times, like 2 to 3 days, in terms of time, like three days to have access to one loan. But digitization make them have quick access on spot immediately when they fill in the form through the mobile application, and just enter one button, and so the loan decision can be made already. Yeah.
Yes. Right.
Directly to their account, and they start to do their business transaction already. They can pay to the supplier. They can purchase a raw material. Also, it can support their working for SME. So so this is in terms of access to loan, but in terms of access to account opening, before they need to come to the office for the opening account, like or signature specimen, but not anymore. Now it's certification by
right.
mobile application.
Okay, thank you, Channy. So, we have talked about all these interesting tools for SMEs, and it definitely sounds really promising. But we know that there are a lot of barriers to SMEs adopting these tools as well. A lot of times, it's too expensive for them. They don't have the understanding. So here I'd like to bring in Boon. Could you talk a bit about Thunes and what are some of the initiatives you're doing to help SMEs?
Sure. Thanks. Yeah. So I think Thunes, what we actually is not direct to consumer or direct to SME companies. So we partner with the banks and non-bank financial institutions to help the SME. So we built In fact, we built two solutions specifically targeting the SME. So the first solution here is actually we offer our cross-border payment network to the banks or to the non-bank financial institution to allow them the banks to offer a low cost and real-time international payment services to their customer. In this case, their customer will be the SME. So the SME will be able to leverage on Thunes network to process international payment to their seller at a very efficient manner, low cost, and in some instances real time. So there is the first solution that we have built targeting the SME. The other solution we are building today is to bring the seller, the SME, into the marketplace, right? The SME want to sell in the international global markets. So then they need to, we find them a marketplace and bring them on board into the marketplace. We help them to onboard the marketplace where they're able to sell their goods and services in the marketplace. And at the same time, we provide a collection capability to collect payment from the marketplace and bring back the fund back into their home country in their local currency. So these are the initiatives that we're doing. We hope that with these two solutions that we built, we will allow more SME in the especially in the emerging country to be able to participate in this global economy.
Thank you, Ikon. And I think, on this note, I think we can wrap things up here. So we have heard, we have this takeaway from KK about ASAP, the way to think about SME digital tools. We understand some of the new features or services that Thunes is providing. Although they may be in the background, indirectly helping SMEs, but nonetheless very vital to the whole ecosystem. So thank you all the panelists. Thank you very much for your thoughts.